Hey, this is Gene. This morning I actually saw an event that was happening at University of Massachusetts last night, and it was called the Triggering, of talking about PC stuff on campuses. This is a big topic right now. Milo Yiannopoulos has been taking on his tour right now with it, and also up there with Christina Sommers, and also he actually had Steven Crowder on here, and he has some great moments in this. He's a comedian by trade, but also a commentator, conservative commentator, and he said something that I very rarely see anything brought up. So I'm going to let him say what he has to say, and I'm going to come back and we'll discuss it and what actually happened at the event itself, and we could talk about it then. So I'll start it now, hopefully. Now that it started doing that, but let's see what happens here. All right, this should work.
You know what? You want to talk about the deck stacked against you? That's not an actual statistic. Boys don't do well in grade school through high school until they finally have the opportunity to study for the SATs, in which case they blow women out of the water. Why? Because we've developed an educational system in this country that caters to women. Boys don't learn by sitting and watching a chalkboard and hearing things verbally. They learn hands-on. We've rigged the deck against young boys, and they're more confused and angry than ever. And people coming out and implying that all of these boys are somehow racist or sexist or perpetuating rape culture, you are going to screw up men for generations to come. And this androgynous, spineless...
Now he goes into a little bit of a tirade after that, and he starts talking about having men in the house, and he gets more traditional, which some of that I agree with to a point, but I didn't really want to show that there. Also, I'll link the whole conversation below, and that happens around 1 hour and 3 minutes into the event. But he has a lot of great things in it. But what I want to bring up as somebody who is an advocate for men and boys in these areas is he's talking about something like sets that dirty secret in the educational field. The truth is clearly this: young girls. Now he says women there, but he should have said girls. The education system, because of whatever happened in the past, maybe it was feminism crying because girls didn't have the same type of opportunities of men. So what happened is the public education took a problem and they went way side to the other side. You know, like the whole thing with that thing. You know, they go too far over to the left. And what they've done is they made girls being the gold standards in school. They teach to how girls process information. They actually grade women higher. I said women. Girls higher. There are studies about that, and I'll try to link that below. Same type of tests, same answers at the end of the day, because most of the teachers are female. They try to prop up the female, and he says later on that boys get angry by that and all that stuff, and maybe that relates to any type of rape crisis, which we really don't have in this country. They were talking about rape culture and that. So, and what he talked about is how what's happened, and this is something that's almost ultimately on the left side of the political sphere. They believe that boys and girls somehow learn the same. So if girls are doing well, if you look at the stats and say 80% of girls do well in this, and they're more in school than boys are, we're going to cater our curriculum to females, and if boys don't do well, we're going to have to medicate them. Now, I've had these conversations with my wife. She works in school systems. She's a counselor. So when I bring it up, unfortunately, she likes to defend her gender, and I don't think she understands it. When I bring up the fact that about 8 of the 10 people that are actually medicated in a classroom is going to be boys, she somehow will say, well, the girls or the teachers are trying the best they can do. They can't control them. And I say, well, we changed the last 30 years ago. We don't let guys actually do any things with their hands in class. We took out recess. We took out a lot of sports things that boys actually excel in. And so she tries to defend the teachers and the girls in class. But she has, I mean, I'm not going to say that she's a bad person at all. I mean, she wants to help the guys as well. But I bring up the fact that there are no men in school. I think they have one. So they need a male role model. They need someone that's going to be give them consequences for what they do. And this touchy-feely type of thing, or if a girl writes something like that they're applauded for it. If a boy kind of does it differently, or maybe his essay might be violent in some way, or scary or something like that, that's frowned upon. And she won't say in her class or her school that there are such things as videos about white privilege and something like that. So boys are right at the top are shamed in public schools. Now people's like, no, wait a second. Well, we have white girls in our classes. The problem is how it looks at it on the liberal side of things, and I won't say liberal, but the progressive left, is they have a victim complex thing or little chart. And women are up here because they're somehow looked at as a fucking minority, which is crazy because they're the majority. But they can't really be racist, even though they're white. So the white guilt is not really ever blamed on them. It's blamed on white boys in school, and they have to take all of them with them. And then they're like, well, how can I figure that out? And some guys just fall right into it and says, yeah, I believe all this stuff, and I feel guilty that I'm white and this. Why does this always happen to me when I'm doing stuff? So I'm just gonna let it go, and I'll just keep talking over it. So they go through grade school, and they go through high school, that they're shamed, or if they try to do something different, they look at differently. They're always told that they have to change, they have to be more, they have to reform. Rarely do you ever see that happening to any girls in the classroom if they do something. So it's always, that is the tone that they have, and then they go. So at some point in that, a lot of boys become almost indoctrinated into that type of mindset. So they go off to college. Now, college is almost a female. They run over everything. 60% of those who go to college are female. So when they say 1 out of 5, it's still, unless they're raping each other, that's another stat that's just fake. And they talk about all that during this little thing they had. So she got these guys that haven't really grown up at all, haven't had any responsibility, or they've been told all along that they've been the problem. Their race has been the problem, their gender has been the problem. So they go to almost any university. It's so liberal there, and people want to be active. They want to be change the world and that thing. And these guys get into, whether it's and they become feminists or something like that, and it gets even worse. And they have teachers saying, "Look, this is all your fault," and they have this self-loathing, and they just lose the part of them that makes them a man. And Stephen actually talks about that more. The future is kind of scary for me. Later in the video, at the end, they have their Q&A, and a lot of guys have gone up there. At least one of them had to be gay, and I think he pretty much said he was. But he was defending Islam. And, of course, Milo was like, dude, if you lived in any other country that was predominantly Muslim, you probably wouldn't be able to talk right now. So their delusion that they have, all these little stats that they get from their teachers or whatever they listen to. Sargon Akkad started talking, and he's got a petition out there to get social justice out of universities. What it means by that, I think he means like feministic theory or gender studies should be out of the universities because it's not rooted on any science whatsoever. It's just some sort of, well, a lot of it will say it's, if you look at where it started from, it's all from mystics that John the Other talks about. But what I really want to get across here is that I applaud Stephen to actually come out and say things that boys are falling back in school. There's been several books written about this. Jonathan Teller is an advocate for boys in these areas. He's been on shows. He's been at a couple of conferences for boys. And he talks about these things, but nothing really changes because there aren't really no men in education anymore. And all the standards come from Washington that trickles down to the states. And those who actually run those areas are feminists. So the problems happen, and it's, again, I have to rail on the left here. This is almost, all this is coming from the left. This idea that if somebody has a different opinion than you, that you can shout them down or you can call them the words, the racist, misogynist, Islamophobia, homophobia, whatever, and shut down the debate. And you'll see that. And I want you to watch this and see what actually happens here. They shut down so many different types of debate, and by saying those same things, but as Milo says, they're losing. So please watch it. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you later.